Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Bootleg presented by Farm Bureau Health Plans. This is the Tennessean's high school football weekly show where we talk about this week's upcoming games, top things going on in the state. And boy, do we have a special treat for y'all this week. Big game, perhaps the best game in the state. Perhaps the top two teams in the state play this week, Thursday night, where Lipscomb Academy, they're 5-0. They go to Oakland, who's 4-0. Trent Dilfer, former Super Bowl winning quarterback, coaches Lipscomb. Kevin Creasy coaches Oakland. We're going to bring Kevin Creasy on board right now, and we're going to talk about what is the biggest game, maybe of the season. Coach Creasy.
How's it going?
Doing well. How are you doing?
Glad to be with you guys.
Okay, Coach, most important question of the day, how many boxes of hot dogs are they going to bring out to cook for this big crowd we're going to have Thursday?
I don't think it matters. I think they're going to run out either way. I don't think they're going to have enough.
Yeah, looks like good weather maybe in the forecast for Thursday, which is great. Like I said before, it's 4-0 Lipscomb Academy at Oakland 5-0. In our Super 25 poll, just so you know, that comes out today, Oakland's number 1, Lipscomb Academy's number 2. They've now jumped Maryville, so we got a number 1 versus number 2 in the state meeting. Luckily, I don't know how that happened, but Coach, what does it mean to play in such a big regular season game? Obviously, regardless of what happens Thursday night, both of you are in great shape for playoffs and everything, but just to play this game and see how you match up against each other.
Yeah, I think it's a great opportunity for our coaches and our players. You know, we get to coach against a really good team, and then, of course, our players get to play against really good competition. You know, you don't always get these kind of matchups in the regular season. So, you know, our players are excited about playing, you know, not just someone who's, you know, one of the top teams in the state, but somebody that they don't play year in and year out. You know, this game kind of came together pretty quickly. So both of us are kind of unfamiliar with each other, and, you know, a lot of respect for each other. But it's pretty neat playing somebody that you don't play year in and year out.
That's probably the best thing about this. If there is one positive with COVID, is these games that come out of these cancellations and stuff. And obviously, last year we got to see you guys play Brentwood in a game similar to this. It just kind of evolved when both teams needed a game, and you know that was, I guess, a precursor to the championship game. That's, you know, like you said, we don't see these kind of matchups. So the chance to get a matchup like this, I mean, what does it mean to you to see, hey, your guys aren't really going to see this offense again? I mean, from what they kind of do, which is a great test for your defense to see how you guys can adjust in a week's time.
Yeah, it is. It's a huge challenge, and you know, having one day less to prepare is even more of a challenge. So it kind of makes you hang your hat on what you do. You know, we have a philosophy on offense, a philosophy in our kick game, a philosophy on defense, and so. With short notice, it's pretty neat to kind of be given these circumstances. You know, we were kind of given those same circumstances last year when we played Stewart's Creek on a moment's notice. We played Brentwood on a moment's notice, and those two games were really competitive games, really good games that all our fans enjoyed, because, you know, that was the first time we played Stewart's Creek in regular season in school history. I can't remember if we ever played Brentwood before that, but, you know, I think it was Coach Crawford that kind of, you know, gave me a call one Wednesday and said, you know, we're not, you know, banging down the door to play anybody except for the fact that COVID has forced us to find someone. And Coach Crawford basically said, you know, I don't care that y'all are undefeated or y'all are the number 1 team in the state. He said, our seniors deserve a game. And that's how we hooked it up last year. And I kept thinking about that this year whenever we were talking about playing, you know, Lipscomb. We've got some of our toughest games coming up. The easy thing would be to have our fall break. You know, we don't have a fall break this year for football because we've got a game with CPA, which is another top team in the state. But at the same time, we've got Blackman, we've got Riverdale, we've got CPA. All that in a row would have been easy just to not play and kind of had another week off. But our guys, our players, they're really wanting to play. We've already lost 2 games this year, and they want to showcase their skills, and to do it in front of a home crowd, that's really fortunate for us.
Coach, I don't know how many people Ray Hughes Stadium seats. I think whatever that number is, there's going to be more than that many people there. Are you bringing in portables or anything, portable seating or anything? Or are you doing anything special to try to get more people in there?
We hope it's standing room only. We do expect a huge crowd. We're real, like I said, we're real happy to be the host of this game. We tried working out a game with those guys in December, and things didn't work out. So it's kind of fate the way things have kind of fallen, and weren't able to work it out a couple weeks ago. But now, I think both fan bases are kind of getting what they want. I think both sets of teams are wanting to play each other. I think it's going to be a real special Thursday night.
You said you're the only game in town, the only game in Middle Tennessee. I think I'm getting direct messages from people from all over the state talking about coming in for this game. So I think it's definitely going to be an interesting matchup. I guess the one thing I see is your power run game versus their speed on the edge. Can you talk about they're so fast on the edge at receiver. That's something, especially the Sherrill kid, Junior Sherrill is a big threat for them. Of course, they got a great run game with Broom there. What is it about their pass game that makes them so great when you look at a Luther Richardson who's only thrown like 11 or 13 incomplete passes all year?
Yeah, they're very efficient. They do a really good job of spreading it around. They've got so many guys that, deserve the ball in their hands. So it's a good problem to have on offense. At the same time, it's tough to load up and drop 8 into coverage when you've got such a good running back. They've got speed in all positions, so they've got a couple big-time H-back tight ends that definitely throw a kink into things. Nice job of their O-line protecting their quarterback all year. And then, of course, their receivers are all threats. So it's a unique matchup because, we're a little different style than they are. But then you kind of break both down. And formation-wise, we do a lot of similar stuff. So I think it's pretty neat that you've got this new era of football. But you look at a lot of things they're doing formation-wise, they're kind of wing T-ish in nature.
Yep. And then you look at your run game with of course, with Jordan James and Antonio Patterson, and we concentrate so much on that, but we forget about, one of the best threats out there, best wide receivers in the state, if not the best wide receiver in the state, and Isaiah Horton, who we saw time and time again go up and make plays on jump balls, one-handed grabs. He's a threat that they're going to have to watch on the, going vertical and everything there. But do you feel like, you've only played a few games? I mean, do you feel like you guys are at mid-season? I mean, it's mid-season it's at the midpoint of the season. Do you feel like you're there with those few games that you played?
We've got ways to go. 2 weeks off definitely hurt us. We only had 2 scrimmages in the preseason, so had some guys coming off of injury. Still got a couple starters from last year that are injured. Got a couple guys that are sick. So it's definitely not the ideal situation, but we definitely are going to put the best 11 we can out there. Isaiah's definitely one of the best 11 on both sides of the ball. He does a great job on defense that goes overlooked. He's matched up well week 1 and week 2 with 2 premier receivers. But also, when you cover him one-on-one on the outside, you're definitely, taking a chance because he's not only fast and athletic, but he's 6'3" and a former basketball player that can go up and get a ball.
Coach, Ray Hughes Stadium has been very good to you over your tenure My math has you at 50-0. I don't know if that's 100% right, but just doing some quick math today, that's the fact that y'all have home field advantage. I think it's going to be a whiteout. You're asking all your home crowd to wear all white there, and I guess we're going to see y'all's version of Penn State there Friday night or Thursday night. Sorry. Just talk about what it means to play at Ray Hughes Stadium and the advantage that you guys get playing in front of your home crowd.
Yeah, it is a huge advantage. They call it home field advantage for a reason, and we're proud of that streak. It goes back 6 years. We all also know that it can be broken anytime. We got some big-time players coming in Thursday, but, like I said, the gauntlet just continues. It's kind of like a playoff run if you look at what our next 4 to 5 weeks are like. We talk about top teams in the state. You can't overlook Riverdale. Riverdale brought one of the best teams we saw last year into Ray Hughes and gave us our closest game of the year, I believe. So, going back to back with CPA and Riverdale and, Lipscomb Academy, we got, Blackman's coming in right after this. So it's similar to a playoff. And like I said, that streak goes throughout the playoffs. So we've had a lot of good fortune at Ray Hughes, especially in playoff times when it counted most. And like I said, I want to give a big shout out to our student section. Do a great job, and our fans. Like I said, they better come early. I know ticket sales start tomorrow. We hope we don't sell it out. As far as the tickets, we hope everybody that wants to come can come, but you better buy them early, and you better get in this line early. I think 5:30 is when the gates open for a 7 o'clock game, if that tells you anything.
And something tells me if you run out of tickets, this might be the game where maybe you just print some more tickets up, because I think this will be a game where wouldn't surprise me if there's 3 or 4 deep around the fence and everything. I think this is a game where I think if you want it in bad enough, I think you're going to be able to get in. I just think, might be a game where you tell the fire marshal go down the street this week. So this will be a huge game. Well, Coach, we'll see you Thursday. We'll be there in full force, and good luck to you. And congratulations. If I haven't mentioned, congratulations on your Hall of Fame announcement. I know you were shocked. Didn't see that coming, but congratulations. Obviously, we're looking at some rings in the background from your Trousdale and your Oakland days. You've had a lot of success over the years. Yeah, well, it's kind of like that home win streak. I get a lot of the credit, but a lot of credit's got to give to administrators, good assistant coaches. Been real fortunate to have really good coaches with me over the years, and then, of course, really hardworking players that kind of go above and beyond. And like I said, that's the secret of my success. Surround yourself with good people. Okay, Coach. Good luck. We'll see you Thursday, folks. You've been watching the Bootleg presented by Farm Bureau Health Plans. Thank you, Coach Creasy. We're going to say goodbye to Coach, and we're going to bring in
one thing, Tom. Just real quick, you said something about printing off tickets. All tickets are online, so make sure you go and buy your tickets online. That's GoFan. Go to the GoFan site and buy your tickets online. Thanks for correcting me, Coach. People will be asking about how do we get tickets. Go to the GoFan site like everyone else has been doing for the last year, and you can get your tickets. And, Coach, if you run out of tickets, just add more tickets in that GoFan. Absolutely. So, I hope I have to. All right, folks. You've been watching Coach Kevin Creasy. Now we're going to be joined by Cecil Joyce of the Daily News Journal. Of course, he covers Oakland High School every week. Now being joined by Cecil Joyce of the D&J.
How you doing, Tom?
Doing well, Cecil. We just had Coach Creasy on. He reminded me at the last minute that those tickets they go on sale Wednesday. They'll be online only at gofan.com. I think they'll sell a lot of them this week. You've seen this Oakland team for a while. How does this team match up from past Oakland teams you've seen?
Well, they've had some offensive linemen out early in the season, so it's kind of hard to gauge up front. They haven't really been tested as much as, I'm sure they would like to have been tested before this game, but they've got some of those guys back. The skill positions, they're pretty similar to last year. You got Jordan James, you got Isaiah Horton, you got Antonio Patterson. So this team is really similar to last year, except they lost a lot of the guys up front, and we're still seeing it's a kind of a work in progress as far as those guys go. But so far, it's so good.
Okay. They play a Lipscomb Academy team. Of course, you've probably seen some huddle film, but you haven't seen them live. They're very fast on the perimeter there with their pass game. Luther Richardson, I think he's only thrown about 11 or 13 incompleted passes all year through 5 games. To me, that's one of the most intriguing matchups for Oakland is how do they slow down their pass game? Can you talk to me about their secondary and what it's going to take? I mean, obviously, Isaiah Horton's going to play a lot both ways.
Yeah, and Isaiah's been playing a lot of defense all year. That's one of the things Coach Creasy noted when, his offensive numbers hadn't really, sprung up yet until the Siegel game last week. But he said, he's been doing an outstanding job at corner for them. Their defense is basically all back from last year, except they lost a player to transfer to Florida. But, their secondary's back. Eric Taylor's done a great job for them. Horton's done a great job for them. They got speed up front, too. I mean, their 2 defensive ends, have a lot of speed. Theron Gaines has had a great year for them. Of course, they have a defensive lineman that's going to visit, I guess, at East Tennessee State this coming weekend, Ethan McLaurin. So it's not just speed in the secondary. Oakland's defense is kind of speed all around.
To me, the big advantage that I think going into the game, maybe Lipscomb will prove me wrong. I think one of the biggest advantages Oakland has is the up front, the physicality of the smash mouth Oakland offensive line, the physical and speed up front on defensive line. I think probably would give the edge to Oakland on both sides at least. Talk about their O line. I know they've got some new faces, but they're still a smash mouth style up front. Coach Watson's going to do a great job getting them ready for this game.
Well, I think he just pinpointed it right there. Coach David Watson does such a great job with that offensive line. It's just shuffle in new guys. They always have good size up front. Not necessarily the fastest offensive line, but a great run blocking offensive line. They haven't had a pass block much. They don't do a lot of throwing. But so far, Jordan James is averaging 9.5 yards a carry. So, at this point, even with some of their offensive linemen out, they're still getting it done up front.
Do we know enough about Oakland right now to know how good they are? They've had 2 games canceled. I guess they've only played like 3 games on the field, I believe. Do you feel like you know about Oakland enough about Oakland, or is Oakland still trying to figure out who they are?
Well, like I said, they're a very experienced team. So if you look back at last year's team, they kind of know who they are, except for a few guys on the offensive line. I think the big key right now is you look and see, well, how good is Madison Ridgeland Academy? How do you compare that game now? Siegel isn't one of the top teams in that region. They haven't been for a few years, so that's a hard team to gauge. Hendersonville, they beat Hendersonville 42-7. Hendersonville, I think, is ranked in the top 10 in the state in 6A. Mm-hmm. So that's a pretty good gauge right there. How well they dominated that game. But you're right. I think a lot of things you're going to see Thursday night. You're going to see Oakland in somewhat of a playoff mode. Last year, Jordan James's carries were limited throughout the entire regular season. He had as many yards in the playoffs as he did in the regular season last year because it became crunch time. That's when their guys really stepped up. I think you're going to see, even though it's a non-region game, it's a regular season game, you're going to see Oakland in more of a playoff mode Thursday, I believe, than in past.
I think there's a lot of maybe, I don't know if bragging rights is the right thing, but they want to. This game is special to both teams because one, it's a public versus private, and we can have a lengthy conversation. 25 years of Division II, I believe, this year, but also, Lipscomb's a team that when Trent Dilfer took this program over, they were nowhere near where they were today. And granted, they've had a lot of kids kind of move in and buy into what Coach Dilfer's doing, and Dilfer's really changed what that program does. Everything, offensive, defense, everything, training wise. They've improved everything about their facilities. But then you got Oakland there, and they're just like, hey, we're still the team here to watch. And Lipscomb's kind of that nice, shiny, speed racing sports car when you look at how they play and how fast they are. But then you got Oakland's that old school muscle car that they still want to show that they're on top right now.
Right, and then first of all, kudos to both coaches for scheduling this game. I mean, both teams could have easily gone undefeated this year, and one of them's going to have a loss, when it's all said and done. Then, so the fact that they're both willing to put their record on the line, which though any coach will tell you your regular season record is unimportant, it's what you do in the playoffs. But these coaches still would like to go 15-0, 10-0 in the regular season, whatever the number is. So kudos to them for that. But you're right. I don't know if this is as much a public-private thing as just, you're the best team in the state. No, you're the best team in the state. I think public-private's taking a back seat to, who's the best. And like I said, with apologies to Maryville and Summit, some other great teams, McCallie around the state. A lot of people think this is the best two teams. They may not be the best team. They may be second and third or fourth. But a lot of people think it's 1 and 2 right now. That's more important than public-private.
The USA Today Network thinks these are the top 2 teams going into this with our Super 25 poll. Oakland being number 1, Lipscomb Academy being number 2. Very close to, Maryville's right there at 3rd. So I think everyone wants to see this game. We finally get to see it. And, this is a game that, I guess, I was talking to Coach Creasy. When you think of COVID and teams losing games, this is the one really good byproduct of COVID cancellations is we sometimes get to see a dream matchup like this.
Correct. And like Coach Creasy said, I mean, it's more important for these guys to play a game right now than worrying about if it's going to hurt their win-loss record. And these are great matchups. Like you said, we looked for this, 3 weeks ago when both teams had a COVID cancellation, couldn't make it work then. I mean, this is something for the fans right here. And, Oakland, to no fault of Coach Creasy, I know he's tried his best, but they've had a hard time scheduling big games, big teams. And now you look at Lipscomb, you got Blackman coming in after that. CPA is right, knocking on the door. So, if any year since I've been at the D&J, that Oakland's being tested in the regular season, it's this year.
This Oakland team, how does it compare to last year? Besides is this a team, do you feel that, regardless of what happens Thursday night, barring injuries, is this a team you think can make a long postseason run?
Oh, no doubt. And I don't think there's, it's not a coincidence that national polls have them ranked. They're ranked atop the state poll. They're ranked number 1 in our Super 25. That's not just tradition. Everybody knows that they had a lot of beef back from last year's team. And like I said, their defense, I think they returned 10 of 11 starters, if not all 11. Well, 10 of 11 after one of the kids transferred. So they got a lot of starters back. And I think that's one thing that's missing in this conversation. You look at Lipscomb averaging 60 points a game. Oakland's averaging 40 points a game. But both of them have great defenses. So it's like, what's going to give? Is it going to be a 49-48 game, or are the defenses going to step up and play big? But the fact that both teams have great teams on both sides of the ball, that's what makes this game even better. It's not just 2 great offenses and no defense. It's not just 2 great defenses, no offense. Both of them have both.
I'm going to ask you your prediction, but first I want to ask you this. What does Oakland have to do to win this game?
Well, they have to establish the run game. I think Coach Creasy has a lot of confidence. I think a lot of the team has confidence in Cade Hewitt at quarterback, but they haven't had to throw it a lot. I don't think you all of a sudden want your quarterback throwing it 20 or 25 times in a game like this. So Oakland needs to get Jordan James running. They need to get Antonio Patterson going. They have both of those options. If one can hit the edge or one can get up the middle, just test that Lipscomb defense and see what works. But they have to be able to run the ball. If Hewitt's throwing the ball 2 or 3 times every series, maybe they could be in trouble.
All right, prediction time. I'm going to let you have a prediction, then we're going to bring in – I'm going to say goodbye to you, and I'm going to bring in Joe for our last segment, Joe Spears. But for you, this puts you on the spot. What is your prediction for Thursday's game?
It was tough. I weighed it all out, just talking about the defense and the offenses and trying to figure out how many points are going to be scored in this game. I settled on 35-31 Oakland. I think the Patriots are going to get it done.
I'm going to tell Steven Jackson you're predicting them to score 31 points on them.
I predicted them to score half of what they're averaging this year. So,
wow. So you're saying 35-31?
Correct.
Oakland.
Correct.
Second prediction, how many people are going to be there?
Well, like you said, I think it could be 3 rows deep on the fences. So I would say a safe estimate is 20% over what capacity probably holds. So hope the fire marshal isn't watching this.
Okay. Cecil, appreciate it. We'll see you Thursday night on the sidelines. Thanks for joining us. Again, you've been watching the Bootleg presented by Farm Bureau Health Plans. Joined next by Joe Spears, We're gonna talk about this game, and then we're gonna go to the remaining top 9 games for Week 6. Joined now by Joe Spears.
You hear me?
I can hear you now, Joe. Welcome to the show.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. We just had Cecil on there on the show talking about this game. Had Coach Creasy of Oakland. Give me the breakdown in your eyes of how this game. About this game here? Give me your breakdown.
It's one of the more exciting games I think down here in a while. Regular season matchups, anyway. I mean, you got Lipscomb Academy's high-flying offense against Oakland's offense. That's more ground and pound, but they'll put up a ton of points on you still. I think we've seen in the past that ground and pound attack, if it's done really well, it can do well against Lipscomb Academy's defense. CPA did that last year in the state championship. I think this Lipscomb Academy team's better than that team last year that made it to the championship, but also Oakland's Oakland. I think you got stopping Jordan James is a tall task, stopping Antonio Patterson's a tall task, and then if they want to throw it, they'll just toss it up to Isaiah Horton. He'll make the play. I think this is going to be a great game. I've got Oakland winning 31-27.
Wow. Okay, my turn. I've heard Cecil's predictions. I heard Joe's prediction. Here's, I think, the key to the game for Lipscomb. I think, one, they've got to figure out a way to play physical smash mouth up front to slow down Oakland's dominant run game. They're going to have to figure out a way to get Luther Richardson a little bit of time to throw the football. I think up front they will not have played a team as physical up front on Oakland's offensive line and defensive line what they've seen all year. On the opposite of that, though, I don't know if Oakland's seen the speed this year that they're about ready to see with Lipscomb. They've got speed all over the field. They've got their running back Alex Broom is a speed back. Junior Sherrill is a speed receiver. They've got other ones. They're gonna have to make sure they wrap up and tackle, and if they do that, I think they're gonna have a shot. But I'm gonna go against the grain. Lipscomb Academy, 28. Oakland, 21. In what may be the game of the year, Lipscomb's going to find a way to pull it out, and they are going to be on top of the world or on top of the state at 6-0, and arguably the number 1 team in the state after Thursday night.
All right.
Now let's go right into the remaining 9 games. On the schedule here, game I'll be at Friday, of course Thursday, Lipscomb Academy at Oakland. That's a 7:00 game, folks. If you want to watch that game, I haven't said this, you're going to have to buy a ticket. It'll be on radio on WGNS, but other than that, it will not be aired on TV. It will not be streamed. If you want to watch it, you're going to have to buy a ticket. So with that being said, now let's go to Friday's top game. Brentwood Academy 3-2 at NBA 2-3. You think, well, the records aren't great, folks. This is an old-fashioned rivalry game. I think it'll come down to the wire. I think both teams know each other very well. This is just a great rivalry game. Joe, what you got?
Yeah, NBA's offense has kind of struggled in recent weeks. I mean, after that performance against Ravenwood, they've kind of every week gotten worse. It seems like. Which is kind of weird considering Marcel Reed at quarterback, but he hasn't played as well. He played well enough last week to get him the win against Father Ryan, where they only scored 10 points. And I mean, I think that's a huge win for them. They needed that. Brentwood Academy on the reverse side, they didn't get a play last week. There were some COVID issues with their opponent. This was a toss-up for me. I really think at some point, NBA is going to figure it out offensively. I think Marcel Reed is too good to not do that. I know they struggle. They played a brutal schedule. It's as simple as that. I ended up changing my pick in the end. I got NBA winning this one. I think it's 21-20 is what I got NBA winning this one by.
You've got spies in the Kreager household. You look at NBA, they're 2-3. They got losses to CPA, Pearl Cone, and Macaulay. Macaulay's arguably the best D2 AAA program in the state. They won the last 2 state titles. They lost, I think, by a field goal in that game. I'm going like Joe. I think NBA figures it out and finds a way to pull it out at Tommy Owen Stadium. NBA, I think I had the same score, 21-20. And I literally just wrote it down about 30 minutes ago, or maybe 40 minutes ago.
It was a tough one. That was a big toss-up.
BGA 3-2 at Pope John Paul II, 4-1.
Yeah. Are you going to gloat about this one for last week? BGA put you ahead of me, so.
I'm ahead of you? I did not realize I'm ahead of you.
Yeah. BGA's playing really well. They ended Davidson Academy's 28-game win streak. Sean Williams had a great game in that win. I know I said I wasn't going to pick against BGA, but they're taking on a Pope John Paul team I think that's going to come into this game pretty angry. They led Baylor 21-14 at the half, and then they got outscored 21-0 in the second half, or 28-0 in the second half. I think Kenny Minchie's in for a bounce-back game, but I do think this one's close. I'm going against what I said the other day. I'm picking against BGA. I've got Pope John Paul winning this one 30-24.
How many times are you going to pick against Jonah Rodriguez before he's going to call you and ask what's up? I mean,
it's not a good matchup.
It's 3 weeks in a row you've picked against him.
I know.
All right, BGA played great ball. Sean Williams, a heck of a running back. I just think Kenny Minchie is the difference maker with Colin Cook there, and I think Ethan Robb at run the football. I mean, as great a running back as Antoine Roberts was last year for the Knights, Ethan Robb has picked up where he left off and is doing a great job. I'm going to go with JP2 28-14. I'm sorry, Jonas, couldn't stay with you this week, but I think it's a great game. I'm glad this is another matchup that we're glad to see. This game was scheduled for the season. So 28-14, JP2 over BGA. DCA, Donaldson Christian Academy, 5-0. They're at Silverdale, 4-0. D2A versus a D2, I believe, AA matchup.
Yeah, DCA's really not had any issues scoring this year. They're averaging, I believe, like 52 points a game or something like that, winning by an average of 35 points. Kind of a battle of undefeated teams, but Bradford Gaines has been really good this year, and he just keeps getting better each week for that DCA offense. Silverdale Academy, they opened the season with a couple of blowout wins, but they've given up 60 points between the last two games. That doesn't bode well against a DCA team, like I said, that's averaging close to 52 points. I think DCA, it may be close early, but DCA in the end runs away with this one 42-17.
I think DCA wins this game. I don't think it's a runaway. I think Silverdale's pretty good in D2 AA, but I think DCA wins this game 20-14. Nashville Christian 3-1 at Davidson Academy 4-1. This used to be a heck of a D2A region game, I believe. So what do you have on this one?
Yeah, like I mentioned earlier, Davidson Academy's 28-game win streak came to an end. I think they're going to be not happy going into this one, going against one of their old rivals in Nashville Christian. Nashville Christian's played really well this year. Josh Strickland last week had a huge game in their blowout win over Clarksville Academy. This was another game where it was kind of a toss-up for me, but I just think Davidson Academy has a little bit too much. They're going to be coming into this one a little angry. I think they win this one 35-21 over Nashville Christian.
Angry is the key word with Joe Spears this week. But I'm going to go Davidson Academy wins this game. I think Knox Roberts at quarterback for Davidson, and is it Devonta Phillips there, the transfer from Rossview. I think he's had a heck of a season so far running the football. I think Davidson Academy 35-20 over Nashville Christian. Pair of undefeated teams. Riverdale 5-0 at Smyrna 4-0. This is where Cecil Joyce will be on Friday night. Riverdale, very defensive-minded team. Opened it up a little bit more. When they beat Rockville like 33-0 last week. What do you have for this game?
Yeah, I mean, outside of that week one win where they barely beat Stewart's Creek, Smyrna's kind of rolled in every other game, winning by an average of 19 points. It's a little different this week going against Riverdale. Riverdale's only given up 4.8 points per game this season. That defense is very, very good. It might be one of the best in mid-state, if not the entire state. Riverdale has had issues on offense at times. I know Jamison Holcomb had a really good game last week, but they have struggled to score at times. I think the Smyrna team is maybe as good as advertised. I think their record's not a fluke. I think they've got the pieces. Landon Miller, really good under center for him. I think Riverdale's a little too much for him in the end. I've got the Warriors winning 24-10.
I have Riverdale winning this game. I think it's going to be another low-scoring game for Riverdale. I'm going Riverdale 13, Smyrna 7. Another undefeated game. This is where Joe Spears will be Friday night. Pearl Cone 5-0 at Tullahoma 4-0. Big region game for them.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this one. The big question is, kind of with everybody who Pearl Cone plays against this year, do they have anybody to stop Barry and Brown? Tullahoma's played really well this year. Ryan Scott's been great for him under center, 777 yards, 8 touchdowns. They got a really good running back, too. It's just a matter of, can that Tullahoma defense slow down Pearl Cone? Pearl Cone's played I would think Pearl Cone's maybe played a little tougher schedule. That road win at NBA was big, I think, for them. Another game I thought might be close, but I think Pearl Cone's got a little too much in the end. I've got them winning 30-20 or 30-17.
Okay. If you go down to Tullahoma, make sure you hit up the concession stand. They always have great steak sandwich there. You will not be disappointed.
Will do.
Little tip there. Barry and Brown is probably one of the best games. We'll see him in region play. Probably Marshall County being the other one. Pearl Cone wins this game 35-27. I think this is a close game, but the Firebirds will pull this one out. Ravenwood 4-1 at Hendersonville 3-1. What do you got for this one?
Yeah, Ravenwood. I mean, you saw it last week. Chris Parson kind of willed them to that win over Brentwood. He's playing really well. I mean, Ravenwood in general is playing really well since that Week 1 loss to NBA. The defense just seems like it keeps getting better and better each week. Biggest thing for them this week is trying to slow down Ellis. Obviously, he's Hendersonville's home run hitter there. I think this one's going to be close too. I think Hendersonville is really good, but I think Chris Parson again probably the difference here. And I think Miles Pollard is in for a big week at some point. He really is just coming back into it after missing a couple games. I think Ravenwood does enough in the end. I've got them winning 28-20.
What middle school did Ellis go to?
Was it Ellis Middle School?
It was Ellis Middle School in Hendersonville. That's just a little knowledge for y'all. Ravenwood, I saw him in person last week. I think Brentwood has improved, and that was a sign of how close that game was. Miles Pollard, second game back, he did get some reps on offense. The game could have been a lot more lopsided, I thought, for Ravenwood. They dropped some balls. Some that weren't probably, normally would make some of those. Some of them were tough catches. But I think Ravenwood wins this game. I do think I'm like Joe, I think it's close. I think it's Ravenwood 31, Hendersonville 21. Summit 5-0 at Beach 3-1. No, excuse me, that's Beach 3-1 at Summit 5-0, I believe.
Yeah, rematch of last year's 5A quarterfinals game. Beach lost a lot from that team, though. Summit did not. Summit is kind of rolling this year. Keaton Wade back and healthy on defense. Beach last week, their offense finally got going, scoring 40 points in a win over Clarksville. Outside of that, they've struggled though. In their three other games, they've only managed like 15 points per game or something like that. That doesn't bode well going against this Summit defense. They're going to have to find something offensively to get them going. We know that Destin Wade's going to do what he does on offense. Brady Pierce, Keaton Wade will be there as well. I think it's not going to be as close as last year's quarterfinal game. The Summit team is too good. I've got the Spartans winning 38-17.
I agree. Summit has been too much for everyone. It's been the Destin Wade show most of the first half of the season. I'm going to say Summit 42, Beach 20. In our last game, this was a late addition after we had a COVID cancellation. We've added this game. Wilson Central 4-1 at Mount Juliet 5-0.
Yeah, kind of a records make you think this might be a close one. This Mount Juliet team's playing really well. Had some issues last week against White County. They needed kind of a touchdown in the last couple minutes to pull out the double-digit win there. Wilson Central, outside of their win last week, they've also struggled on offense this year, only averaging 14 points per game in their other 4 games. Steven Swoner, he's a great quarterback. He's playing really well for the Golden Bears. I think, again, he has another big week after throwing for 4 touchdowns and running for 1 last week. This Mount Juliet team's really good. It's as simple as that. I think they win this one 45-17.
I agree with you. Mount Juliet playing really good ball, but I think Wilson Central, with it being a rivalry game, I think Wilson Central finds a way to keep it somewhat close, keep it very close. I'm going to say Mount Juliet 20, Wilson Central 14.
I think we agreed on every game there, Tom.
Lipscomb Academy, we did not agree.
Oh, that one, yeah, that's true.
So I get to go up 2 after this week, is what I'm saying.
We'll see.
All right, y'all. You've been watching the Bootleg presented by Farm Bureau Health Plans. Want to thank Farm Bureau Health Plans for their support and being our sponsor. We cannot do these events without their support. And folks, it's gonna be a great game again Thursday at Oakland, 7 p.m. Lipscomb Academy at Oakland. Game of the week. It will not disappoint. You've been watching the Bootleg presented by Farm Bureau Health Plans. We'll see you next week.